is actually stated.
To me, we have the right.
You guys, welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'll stand up. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And get going with that. We got a public hearing first. Let's all sit back down now that we know how to stand up. You, Sarah.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is Bill 2923, an ordinance to approve a change in zoning from MHD and R2 to R4 at One Bridgeview Court. So One Bridgeview Court is a 5.6 acre property at the former Bridgeview Mobile Home Park. The current zoning is MHD Manufactured Home Park District and R2 Residence District. They are proposing to change to an R4 Residence District. Due to the MHD zoning, single-family dwellings are not permitted on 4 of the 5 acres. The applicant has provided a conceptual plan illustrating a potential 10-lot single-family residential development. Because this is a straight rezoning request, it does not involve a plan district. A development plan is not required or formally attached, but it does demonstrate the applicant's vision for the site as a 10-lot single-family development. The Planning Commission held a public hearing last Tuesday. Commissioners had a couple questions, but no significant concerns. There were no questions from the public, and it was unanimously recommended, 9-0.
Okay, council, you guys have any questions or comments about this?
This is in Ward 2 and 3, or 1 and 2, I mean?
Well, it used to be 2. I think it's 3 now.
2 and 3, so the Bridgeview Court side, I think, is in 2 or 3, and then the other side is in the other. I can't remember exactly what.
It's just down the street from the entrance to Strawberry Creek Nature Reserve.
It should be all art. It should be all Ward 2, is it?
One side of Tenbrook is
There we go.
one and
Is it?
What the one side is Ward 1, the main side,
You need
where
a
the
new map.
trailer park used to be, is Ward 1. And then across the street is Ward 2, where I think they're proposing
Oh,
a
is it?
couple. Mhm.
We need a new map. All right. Any public, anybody in the audience care to talk on this issue? You know what it's about? It's an old trailer park that was taken down and then they're gonna put up some houses now. It's gonna be much better, I think. So last chance, okay. If no further comment, I'm gonna close this public hearing session, and we're gonna go on with the Pledge of Allegiance. Now you can stand up. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In lieu of an opening prayer tonight, I just want to make a comment. I just found out this week that Dr. Stephen Leon, he's a longtime dentist here in town. He just died, and his funeral visitation is tomorrow. So we just have a moment of silence for Dr. Leon. Thank you all. He was a real nice man, so. Tammy, roll call, please.
Sorry. Bill Moritz,
Here.
Tim Seidenstricker,
Here.
Ryan MacArthur.
Here.
Peggy Allen. Here. Gary Plunk.
Here.
Michael Rethmeyer,
Here.
EJ Fleischman,
Here.
Rodney Mullins.
Here.
Troy Blackshear,
Here.
Anthony Traxler.
Here.
Sarah Turner. Here. Bill Lehman,
Here.
Bob Sweeney,
Here.
Dave Crutchley,
Excused.
James Pogorzelski, Dan Krupa,
Also excused.
Chief Carroll.
Okay, we're up to business from the floor. This time, if anybody in the audience would wish to address the city council on any matter of city business, you can come forward to the microphone. Please note that you must be physically present here to do that. Sometimes we have Zoom call meetings, but you're not allowed to do that from a Zoom call. When you come forward, please state your name and address for the public record before speaking. You'll be allowed 3 minutes to present your comments. This will be your only chance to speak before the meeting unless otherwise authorized by the city council. Yeah, anybody want to talk? Don, I know you had filled out a card, but yeah, did you get your question answered? Okay, all right. Nothing here. I'd like to welcome Senator Mary Elizabeth Coleman here. We just met with the senator up in Jeff City the other day. And if you guys don't know this, Mary Elizabeth used to be a Ward 2 city councilman in in our little city here. And then she went on to the State House for a couple of terms, and now she's in her second term in the Senate, first term in the Senate. Not seeking reelection. Please come up. I'm welcome.
Well, it feels like coming home. Nice to see you, Bob. Nice to see you, Gary and EJ, especially and Mayor. Actually, people may not know, but I took Mayor Moritz's seat when he moved on for a little while doing something else. Tammy, good to see you.
It was 2013. That's when I went to
2013.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I thought I'd come and talk with you guys a little bit. There are some fights that are going on that affect municipalities and that frankly municipalities hate. And I thought that if I'm doing things that I think you guys don't like or that you've testified that you don't like, it's good to show up and tell you why I'm doing it and what's going on. And frankly, there's so many of those things that I'm not quite sure where you'd like me to start. So I'm happy to address either the grocery sales tax, the income tax, the border commission, or the Hardy plant, and the water district. So Mayor or members of the council, where do you want me to start with the things that I think are good ideas that you think are bad?
Well, if I have my pick, you had told us why the idea about you shouldn't be taxing necessities. So that would apply to the
Start there.
sales tax. Would you please?
I'd be happy to, Mayor. Thank you. Okay, so I have a little handout I'm gonna pass around to you guys. I think I have enough time to roll my office email here with you. And for people who are here, this is just a list. And I'm happy to show you too, if you want, I can stick around in the lobby after I do my presentation. This is a list of every Missouri sales and use tax exemption and exclusion. It is page after page after page after page of exemptions that have been carved out by special interests over the years. Missouri's taxing plan makes no sense. It really doesn't. The way that we fund our essential services is not particularly stable. It is, there's a lot of off-book accounting, meaning there are things that are exempted. So we aren't capturing any sort of an audit of how much money is being exempted by those different products. I don't have a copy of this for everybody, but this is a list, literally cell by cell, of every single taxing entity that is in the state of Missouri. We have more taxing entities than any other state by a margin of 5. Any other state, we're not a big state. We have more sales tax exemptions than any other state but 2. And part of that is because rather than come up with a coherent model of how should we be providing sales and use and excise type taxes, it's just been hodgepodge over the last 120 years. The first real hit of that was during the Prohibition. And so when Prohibition hit, most of our state government had been funded by alcohol sales tax. When that revenue went away, there was an effort to broaden the base, and municipalities and political subdivisions started creating their own taxing entities. And that's by and large why we have this huge litany. I mean, literally, it's just like page after page after page of taxing entities. There was then an effort to broaden the sales tax base, and special interests kind of have started carving out those little pieces. Our Missouri's Constitution requires that we not tax necessary or essential services. And so I think that when we have this giant list of things that are exempted, and I mean, some of these things are absurd. Like, I want to pick one of the strange things. Bullion and investment coins, those are not taxed. I mean, it's just like admission charges to fairs are not taxed. I mean, it's like, it's totally random what thing hasn't been taxed. And so it's clear that it is time for us to be reevaluating where that is. I have personally find very offensive that we have regressive taxes. I think our taxes should be fairly applied, and they should not be applied to the poorest of the poor. Our food sales tax, one of those exemptions is if you are on public benefits, TANF, otherwise known as SNAP benefits, food stamps, or if you're paying with WIC, then you're not taxed on those products. So we're only taxing, we are taxing in a way that is literally only hurting the working poor. So I have filed versions of this bill for the last 7 years. It typically doesn't get a tremendous amount of traction. I get it usually to the floor of whichever chamber that I'm in. I can get a vote on an amendment, but never a vote on a standalone bill. And it's voted almost always unanimously as an amendment because nobody is opposed to the idea in principle. It's in the details of how do we work this out in a way that becomes revenue neutral and also doesn't violate Hancock in some ways. I mean, the heart of the reason is people don't want to push down expenses to our political subdivisions, right? So I think that I've been a little surprised this year at the amount of coverage and the frustration level. Sometimes I file the bill trying to get rid of just the non-constitutional state tax piece, which will cost the state about $33 million, and do a carve out for the municipalities. And other years I file it as a broader tax. And this is a bipartisan, like I said, it's not a partisan issue. I think it's a math problem. We wouldn't be building our system in the way that we have it currently. And so, what I would propose if I were sitting in your seat is I would take a deep dive and look at how are we funding the taxes of the city of Arnold, because I don't think that any one of you would build the system that we currently have and then take it to a vote of the people. We're already going to be probably taking a vote to the people of state income tax and about trying to figure out how should we be funding essential services at the state level. And so there's time then, or there would be an ability. People are already talking about the way that we crack this nut. So I would suggest taking it to people and, I would do an offset, frankly. I would say we're not going to cut sales. We're not going to charge it food for groceries. And it's not all food, by the way. It's only grocery items. I think there's been some misstatements in the press about that. It would apply only to grocery items. And I would, just slightly do an offset on our regular sales tax items so that everything else is going to offset that. Not a revenue generator. I would make it revenue neutral, take it to the voters. Now, there is, of course, a cost to putting something on the ballot. I think that's used to be $20,000 to $30,000. But I think that's a fairer system. And if we're already as a state evaluating how are we taxing, how are we making sure that we have consistent revenue, then let's look at that. So I think that kind of segues nicely into the income tax discussion, but I want to pause here and see if anybody has any questions about why I'm doing this, what I'm intending to do, and where in the process that particular legislation is.
City Council?
Senator,
Gary?
Senator.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mary?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I understand by looking at this, I've read some of it. And there's a lot of things on here that's not taxed.
Mhm.
First couple of pages I see is agriculture, but I'm sure it goes.
Yeah, it's just
beyond that.
alphabetical.
Yeah. But with all this tax that Jefferson City is trying to do away with one form or another, I've yet at least to see, I know the news just gives you a tidbit
Mhm.
of how we're going to go ahead and provide within these municipalities and the state level, roads, police.
Oh, for sure. And again, I think your question is really well put, which is how do we have a stable tax base while also ensuring that we don't have, and you're kind of opening it up a little bit to the broader question, death by a thousand cuts. I mean, I think when you look at federally across the country, there are 9 states that don't tax personal W-2, income taxes. 8 that have no income tax whatsoever. Washington State doesn't do personal income tax, but they have some capital gains for millionaires. But other than that, they don't do that. And I have a lot of more information and data that I'm happy to talk to you about that. Do you mind, Councilman Plunk, if I answer Attorney Sweeney's question? Because I think he was going to ask something about just this, and then I'll talk a little bit more about.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Senator, and good
Yeah,
to see you again.
Good to see you too.
I guess my question is a little, maybe that's too global. I guess I'm curious. I share your interpretation that the funding system for the state of Missouri is a mess.
It's fundamentally broken.
So how, but I see your piece as not addressing that global problem and simply being another exemption.
Sure.
Another exception
Sure.
to this already broken system. And
Yeah.
isn't it really something that, I'm going to throw it on you as state legislators need to say, we have to sit down and fix this whole system. And here's our plan.
Mhm.
Because right now you're asking us, not wrongly, but to go to the citizens in Arnold and say, let's not tax essentials.
Mhm.
I don't think the working poor should have to pay more in order to survive than they can. But in let's tax other things. I sort of see it as just another Band-Aid. And I think it's a noble Band-Aid, but if we want to fix a regressive tax system, don't you have to get the lobbyists out of it and come up with a global plan? And maybe it's too much.
No, okay, so two things I will say. I think that when I first started filing this bill, I didn't care as much that pulling at the thread was adding to it because it felt so unjust to me that it seemed to me like, okay, if we're going to have exemptions for the state legislator's office supplies, which by the way is in there, but we're not going to for the working poor, I don't really care if I'm exasperating the project because fairness dictates that we not worry about that. As we're looking at the global taxing system, and I keep using that phrase, but it's like, how does personal property taxes obviously has garnered a tremendous amount of discussion in the State House. Property tax assessment values across the state are a giant mess, and how that is being dealt with. Income taxes are by and large why we're losing out to economic development when people are looking across the country about where they're going to invest. And you're right, you can't just pull at one little red thread, the whole system collapse. You have to look at it globally. I don't actually think that you get things done by pushing the lobbyists out of the room because the lobbyists are the ones who represent the city of Arnold. The lobbyists are the ones who represent Jefferson County. So you have to instead invite literally everybody to the table, which is why I'm here talking to you guys. I'm not even running for reelection. I could say to heck with it, I don't care what you guys think, but Jeffco is home and I care. And I think it's important that we get these things right. And so fundamentally, I believe that consumption taxes are fairer than, taxes on assets that have already been purchased by the taxpayer. And so shifting the tax burden into things that you can control whether or not you're purchasing makes more sense to me than something that you already have, like your income or things like that. So I don't disagree with you. There's a two-step process. I think that kind of will let me pivot into talking a little bit about the income tax. So before we can talk about what's going to happen with the income tax, I think it's really important to talk about how the income tax came around. So the income tax was first passed in Missouri in 1861, and it was titled as a war income tax. And it was like most first income taxes in this country meant to fund the state's efforts to address the Civil War. That went away and then came back amid World War I in 1917. Trying to try to create an offset, there was a growing group of states, Oklahoma, Massachusetts, Delaware, that turned to that to try to get another source of revenue. That was pretty stable up until 1969 and 1970. And this is where I want to brag on Jeffco a little bit. Does anybody remember Earl Blackwell?
Oh, yeah.
Senator Earl Blackwell is a Jefferson County legend. The man was a lion. And he single-handedly pushed back against the governor implementing an income tax as one senator. He killed it, and then the governor called into a special session, rolled him. One senator can't fight a governor in a special session. They just wait you out. That's the reality of the situation. And 1969, lawmakers passed a tax increase that had failed the previous year in that effort. Well, Earl Blackwell was not done fighting yet, and he was the first person to use the signatures gatherings effort that is allowed for us in our Constitution. And by 56 to 44%, Missourians overturned the income tax. Now, he was undaunted by that and didn't care. And later in 1970, rolled the citizenry and re-implemented that income tax by using kind of like one of those rare procedural. There's a lot of talk about moving the previous question in the Missouri Senate lately. You probably heard that on the news, but that was the first time that had been used since 1867. So it was in 1970. It was very, very rare, but he rolled Earl Blackwell, and our senator kind of couldn't do much more at that point. And things were a little bit stable, but those levels that were sent, which was the top taxation value of $9,000, the top taxing level at 6% of $9,000 was set in 1970 and has never been looked at again. So we have many different taxing brackets, and those brackets have been set since 1970. $9,000 represented the top 2% of income earners in the state of Missouri in 1970. No longer does $9,000 at our top income bracket represent the top earners in the state. So we are working with maybe the most regressive income tax in the country because those brackets have been so stable. You guys are familiar with in 1980, we passed the Hancock Amendment that had two important parts: a cap on spending and then a cap on requiring voter approval to implement new taxes, right? And in the 90s, there was a period of time where people got some Hancock money back, right? There was money that was spent that came back to us. Unfortunately, there's some Supreme Court rulings that allowed off-book accounting to come up. And so we have now tax credit programs that are three different kinds. We have what I'm calling kind of innocuous tax credits. These are largely time of payment, banking fees, and the SALT Parity Act. So that happens, it's more about when do you pay what you owe rather than what you pay. We're not changing the bottom line. So I'm going to take those kind of and put them to the side. We also have benevolent tax credits. There's been an explosion of benevolent tax credits where the legislature has said, we think there's some work that is so important to do that if you give directly to that agency, our food pantries, our battered women's shelters, pregnancy resource centers, you can get up to a 70 or even 100% tax credit, dollar for dollar. You don't have to pay that to the state. And then there's special interest tax credits. Those are largely the Missouri Works programs, which is the largest economic development program that we operate in the state, as well as the low-income housing tax credits, why can't I think of it? Historic property tax credits. And that is about $500 million every year. That is all off-book accounting. $500 million. Our JR budget is about $30 billion. So that's a pretty significant portion of our general revenue dollars that are off-book, right? We're not capturing any of that revenue. And again, when you've got the LIHTC or the Historic Preservation, Missouri Works, there's also a property tax credit. We just, of course, passed a new one of those. The working family tax credit, the business facility tax credit, biodiesel and retail. The list goes on of all these special credits, and they're all off book. So we never see the cost. So I don't know whether and they're completely outside the appropriations process. So I don't know whether I would allocate the $118 million to low-income housing efforts instead of going to our schools or our roads and bridges, because that money just goes there automatically without any sort of an audit. So it's really kind of a parallel budgeting system. We're not even getting a complete section of that. Add to the fact that when you look at across the country, 8 states or 9, depending on how you count it, have no income tax. Their revenues for their states are more stable. They have a broader tax base on consumption taxes. They have a broader tax base on their property taxes, but they have no income tax, and they are kicking every other state's butt. So they are 8 of the states, but in the last 15 years, they have been the top 5 to 10, the top 5 of the top 10 producing and growing states. They have had the highest levels of inflation as people continue to vote with their feet and move from state to state based on the type of living conditions that they're looking for. We have also been whittling away and I, going to answer Bob's question before he asks it. The Missouri legislature has been whittling away at our different types of revenue. We've gotten capital gains tax. We've decreased. We have looked at, just tax, the corporate income tax. I mean, just thing after thing, we've been dropping taxes. We also have implemented a plan to drop the income tax level based on the revenues of the state so that we're bringing in less dollars, so that people are able to keep their own funding. But interestingly, all of that, and I want to find my notes on this, all of those individual taxes, those tax cuts have been net neutral on revenue. It's wild, but it's true. So since 2019, when I showed up in the legislature, our net general revenue was, I'm sorry, I said 30 billion earlier. It's actually $6 billion in GR. The $30 billion is our total budget, which includes all of our pass-through administration for the Medicaid taxes, or the Medicaid matches and the federal dollars. So please forgive me. I need to correct back the record earlier. GR is about $6 million overall, but net revenue when I first got elected to the State House back in 2019 was at 9.74 billion, and we're projected at 13.65 billion this year, despite having those tax cuts. So what does that tell us? It tells us that we have a fundamentally broken system. We have built something that doesn't make any sense, that nobody would start with, and everyone has been too afraid to pull at the thread of. Now, historically, about every 40 years, there's a pretty significant tax discussion that's taking place in the state of Missouri, and it's time for that again, it seems. We've got to figure out how to have a stable revenue base, how to make sure we have funding essential services, and also that we are primed for economic development. Despite all of those tax cuts, this is a wild thing that I just wanted to say, if I can find in my notes. Missouri in 2024 added 95,700 jobs and was ranked #1 in net job growth in America. So we're still growing despite that, but our businesses are not, we don't have businesses coming in. And so, you can't solve one of these things without the other. Your point of let's all just get in a room and build something new, we don't have constitutional authority to do because of the Hancock Amendment. And so I firmly believe that we need to go to voters and ask for permission to change how are we taxing things. So we have to get what is the goal, where, what types of taxes can we use? And then I believe we should go back to the voters and ask them, do you want to do it this way? This is something that the legislature and citizens are going to have to work together on to build a new system. And, I don't mean to make this political, and I certainly don't intend to, because I don't think this is a partisan problem. I think it's just a math problem. I really do. I think it's a math problem. And I think Missourians are as smart as anybody else, and we can figure out even tricky math problems. So, so that is my income tax discussion. If you guys want more kind of following on the day-to-day of that or any of the other bills or things that are working through, if you go to the senate.mo.gov and you find my name, you click on it, you sign up for a newsletter. I have every Friday, we send out an update saying, what have we done in this week? And then hot topics. And I include white papers that other senators have put out as they're working on the projects, bills, a broad array of resources. And then also, everybody in the county has my cell phone number. It's 314-629-4980. I did have it set up, so if you call me and you're not a saved contact, it goes to voicemail. Leave me a message, even though it says send me a text, or send me a text. I don't care. And then I will call you back, and I'm happy to walk through any of these things because it is complicated and it is difficult. And taxpayers are going to have to weigh in after the legislature crafts a plan. This isn't something that can be done in a vacuum. Can I go back, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Plunk and see if I answered his question with that.
Of course, you're a guest here. It's informative.
Councilman, did that answer your question?
Yes, well, to a point, but this is from probably, correct me if I'm wrong, from different lobbies group,
And legislators.
different senators, different legislatures have their pet peeve to have this tax deducted from it.
Mhm.
And I'm struggling with, I understand what you can. I don't see how you could get 5 people, 5 legislatures, 5 senators in the room, have anybody take anything off of this.
Mhm.
At the same time, as you spoke, from my understanding is if we deduct no taxes, but don't charge a tax on necessities of food, the food. Well, it might seem minuscule, it is not when you look at the whole dollars and cents to the municipality or county. And at this time, I have an issue with that because as internet sales captures everything, our sales goes down.
But they're also going up. Don't we have Wayfair? Didn't we pass Wayfair?
No, not here.
Oh. Not in Arnold. Brian?
Yeah, I mean, that's my point exactly.
Yeah, we tried, but it failed.
What was the percentage? I guess I missed that in the leader afterwards. I thought we did. Okay, well, you can tell I fight very, very hard to buy things in person, and I'm clearly not paying attention to the taxes on, or the lack of taxes on the internet.
And I just feel that we're taking money away, then we gotta go out and seek another tax to fill that tax. And, well, I applaud you for wanting to do this for taking the food tax off. On one hand, I applaud you for that. But until myself can see how we can replace it, and at the same time, I don't see anybody that I know, and I know a few in the legislatures, that any of them would sit down and agree with taking anything off of here.
Well, I will say I disagree a little bit that people aren't willing to look at it. I do think there is a different understanding of where we are than there was 8 years ago when I first showed up. And I do think that people think we should be looking at, there is a growing consensus, at least amongst the Republican delegation, that consumption-based taxes are probably more equitable and more stable. So there is more of a consensus around that. I don't think that the wood products or these various different special interest things, will have a set of it. But I also want you to know that I don't think that the food sales tax cut will pass in a vacuum, right? Like that is not going to pass without a broader discussion about what are we going to do about our taxing structure. I think if that passes, it passes because it's part of the network of decision-making and negotiation to get a broader income tax discussion going.
Well, in closing, my thought is before you could enact a tax such as this, you got to go back and look at this and take several taxes, apply several taxes to consumption that these lists here are not paying.
Fair point. Thank you.
Yeah, Brian?
Yeah, well, that was kind of my point. And thank you for all, I mean, that's a,
Yeah.
great overview for the state. And I agree wholeheartedly with you. But one of the things that we all know as the upper legislature also passes down to the lower, and us being the lower, ours,
We think it's the House, not you guys.
but our whole,
Sorry, bad joke.
our whole basis of tax here in the city is basically sales and use tax.
Correct.
It's probably what, 90%, 80% or so of all of our taxes.
It certainly was when we served together.
And so the problem is, while, you're going to take that away, if this would pass, I know you say you might not think it's going to pass, but I just want all the voters to know also. So what we're talking about on here, since, because we just cut our real estate tax down to basically nothing.
Yeah, I applaud you for that.
Right. So our whole city, so what this is going to do to us is remove almost $5.25 million from our budget.
Unless you did what I suggested, which is
But-
look at what is the use structure of the sales tax and make a different decision and ask the voters if they agree.
Where else would we get the money
You
from?
would do an offset on one of those other sales and use taxes to create a slight percentage up on the other items that would offset the income, right? So you're not raising the income, you're just switching so that the poorest of the poor, if they're not buying the things, that
Yeah,
are
but isn't the
voluntary.
SNAP and all that, the poorest of poor are from,
Only the ones on
from what I
government
have is-
programs. So if
uh,
there's a mom who's working really hard and doesn't want to go on government subsidy programs, I don't think we should punish her because she's pulling herself up from her bootstraps. We're only giving a
Well-
cut to the people who are on government subsidies. I mean, that's the system that we've built right now. And so I hear what you're saying, but you could ask voters, and I will tell you, the sales tax on groceries, that polls at 92%. People across all demographics, all ideologies don't think that we should tax grocery food. So I don't think you'd have a problem asking the voters to say, should we do a small offset? Now, if you try to do it as a revenue generator, people are going to say no. But if you calculate it right and you do it as an offset, I think you're going to get broad support for that.
problem is it's not small. What's our budget? 20, 25, right? 30?
I'm saying
So you're
not a
talking- yeah,
small
I know, but you're
portion. I'm
talking about
saying,
Cutting a quarter. 25% of our budget is going to be paid through this tax. And so if we take that away, to me, that's not a small little fine.
I agree with
adjustment.
you. I'm saying that
Yeah.
you would,
Yeah, I know, but where are you going to offset that with? We only have use tax and we have sales
Are
tax.
we gonna lay off
We're never-
employees? We're gonna lay off police officers?
Well, I mean, to
No,
me, it's not even
of
about
course
laying
that's
off.
not what
It's
I'm
like, where are you
suggesting.
going to replace? We don't have anywhere to replace $5 million from. Where are we going to get a quarter of our budget from by moving taxes around? It ain't gonna happen.
It was,
No way.
I think it was a two-handed approach. You have to do one and the other at the same time.
Yeah, but where are you going to do that?
I don't know the answer to that, Brian.
That's the problem. We're gonna take it away and then, so, okay. I'm just, that's my problem. I mean, I just want everybody to know it's $5 million out of our budget gone. Poof. Adios.
I just like, that's probably a discussion for us, not a
Yes.
debate with the senator. It's probably not the
It's
best
it's okay.
forum, but
I am used to having minority opinions.
yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
No, it's probably not as efficient as we could probably make it.
Can we switch off to one more thing?
Yes, sir.
The boundary commission.
Sure. So in the master plan for Jefferson County, there has been called for a way for the county and the municipalities to work together to decide about what happens when a city or a village is wanting to broaden their base. We have happening over on the other side of the county, Eureka has annexed an island, which is just a subdivision to create more tax revenue for the city. Those people bought and built in that community because they didn't want to be in a city. They wanted to shoot fireworks, frankly. And now they can't because they're part of Eureka. I think we shouldn't have our cities be annexing islands. And I think that when we have created as a community a master plan, which is the county master plan, to decide how do we address annexation, that it is appropriate to create authorizing legislation at the state government that would allow the county to do that. So that's where that's coming from. That's what the point of it is. I know you guys don't like it. I don't think any city's going to like it in the county because you guys want to be able to operate independently. But Jefferson County is a community and we don't operate in an island. And I'm really sympathetic, frankly, to those people who built their new houses thinking they'd be able to shoot fireworks off on the 4th of July and now they can't because they live in Eureka.
Thank you.
We like our fireworks in Arnold. Come on over.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry, some of the terminology you're using, what do you mean by island? I'm sorry.
It means that
It's like
that
we're-
neighborhood is,
We were going to annex Kimmswick and make it part of Arnold because we like
Okay.
what.
yeah, it's not touching any part of the border of the city. So it's like you just kind of looked at unincorporated Jeffco and said, we're going to take that land and do so.
Our comp plan doesn't allow for that anyway.
Okay,
Our comp plan doesn't allow for that. It has to be contiguous.
understand.
Mhm.
She was giving you an
Right.
example of someone who
Yeah, I know.
didn't follow
Yeah.
that plan.
Thank you.
Senator
Yeah.
Coleman, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk with you guys. I really appreciate the work that you're doing. I think that the people who volunteer for our political subdivisions, our school boards, our city councils, our water districts, are unsung heroes with a lot of time away from your families and a lot of griping and not a lot of thanks. So from me, at least, thank you very much for the work that you guys do.
Thank
The
you.
same way, Mary Elizabeth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks for what you do.
Senator. Appreciate it.
Anthony and I were up in Jefferson City the other day, and we invited Mary Elizabeth to join us, and she graciously did so. Tammy, consent agenda, please.
Items on tonight's consent agenda are council meeting minutes from February 5th, 2026. Payroll warrant number T00974 in the gross pay amount of $448,612.25, and general warrant number 5900 in the total pay amount of $315,317.69.
Thank you for that. Can I have a motion for approval, please, for the consent agenda? Michael, and a second? Gary? Okay, a roll call vote, please.
Tim Seidenstricker,
Yes.
Brian MacArthur,
Yes.
Peggy Allen. Yes. Gary Plunk.
Yes.
Michael Reithmeyer.
Yes.
EJ Fleischman.
Yes.
Rodney Mullins.
Yes.
Troy Blackshear.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Thank you. We're up to ordinances. Tammy, bill number 2922. Will you please give the first reading?
Bill number 2922, an ordinance amending Title II, Chapter 200, Article 4, Section 200.630 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Arnold.
Thank you. Bob, would you please explain that to us?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This ordinance is basically a cleanup ordinance. Currently, the language in the police pension plan does not reference what they do with their accrued vacation. So historically, we have used the accrued vacation as part of the final payment, but the ordinance is silent with regard to that. So we really needed to clean that up and make sure that our ordinances match is our practice. In addition, what this does though is it does a sunset provision so that all of the officers who are currently employed and understood that that would be part of their retirement calculation will receive it, but any officers hired after a date certain will not get that same benefit. So we didn't feel that it was fair to take away from the officers who expected to get this in the future, but those who get hired will then be apprised of what their final calculation will be.
Thank you. Any comments? or
If there are any
questions?
questions, I'm happy to answer them.
You'd have to read it. It's okay. Tammy, a second reading, please.
Bill number 2922, an ordinance amending Title II, Chapter 200, Article 4, Section 200.630 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Arnold.
Thank you. Last chance, questions and comments? Roll call vote, please.
Tim Seidenstricker,
Yes.
Brian MacArthur.
Yes.
Peggy Allen. Yes. Gary Plunk.
Yes.
Michael Reithmeyer.
Yes.
EJ Fleischman.
Yes.
Rodney Mullins.
Yes.
Troy Blackshear.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Okay, Bill 2923 is next.
Bill number 2923, an ordinance to approve a change of zoning from MHD Manufactured Home District and R2 Residence District to R4 Residence District for a 5.62 acre tract of land at 1 Bridgeview Court.
Sarah, this is what we had the public hearing on tonight, so.
Correct, yes. Yes, of course. So this is again a request to rezone 1 Bridgeview Court, which is about 5.5 acres. It is currently MHD and R2. They're wanting to switch it to R4. Essentially, the main purpose is that the current zoning does not allow for single-family dwellings, and the applicant's goal is to build a 10-lot subdivision.
Any comments or questions from the city council? You guys all know what this is, Brian?
Yeah, I just want to explain, yeah, it's right over there. It's really nice that we're gonna, I mean, we got rid of the mobile home district, because that was really, really bad, or the mobile homes, those were in such disrepair in the cross of there. And so I think this is a great way to get some new homes in there. And just so most of you know, half of that tract they can't even use because it drops off like, I don't know what, like 100 feet or whatever going towards the back of it. So I think they've used the property well. And they're gonna have plenty of room for the water runoff and things to make some nice on there. And then those houses across the street are about 3 houses on the other one. So I think it's gonna be a really nice design and I mean, you definitely have to rezone it because nothing, I mean, it can't be, done in a mobile home district and we knew, we were always gonna have to do that. So, I think it's gonna be great for the city, so.
Very well, thank you. Any other? Tammy, or second reading?
Bill number 2923, an ordinance to approve a change of zoning from MHD Manufactured Home District and R2 Residence District to R4 Residence District for a 5.62 acre tract of land at 1 Bridgeview Court.
One more time, questions and comments? Roll call vote, please.
Tim Seidenstricker,
Yes.
Brian MacArthur.
Yes.
Peggy Allen.
Yes.
Gary Plunk.
Yes.
Michael Reithmeyer.
Yes.
EJ Fleischman.
Yes.
Rodney Mullins.
Yes.
Troy Blackshear.
Yes.
8 yeas.
We're up to resolutions, and this is gonna be a good one. Number 26-25, 26-05.
Resolution number 2605, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter a contract addendum number 2 with Great Rivers Engineering to provide professional engineering services for the St. John's Church Road project.
James, would you please explain?
Yes, this is an addendum to the original contract with Great Rivers Engineering for the St. John's Church Road improvements. Includes plan modifications to accommodate an 8-foot shared use path on the north side of the road. As design has progressed, the number of parcels have also increased. The consultant's going to prepare the additional right-of-way and easement documents and secure the title reports, which is all separate from the original agreement.
Any comments or questions from the city council?
Just I'm excited to see this.
I am too. I drive that road every day.
Yeah, is there a construction time or has any of that been nailed out yet? Just curious.
Not for sure yet.
Okay,
26, 27, or early 27 possibly.
early 27, okay.
Yeah, that'd be the earliest.
Yeah, that's fine, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? What part is the engineering is this for? This is for the whole stretch, right? Including the
Yes.
right turn lane out and
Yep.
all of that. Okay, thanks so much. With that, can I have a motion for approval?
Can make that motion?
Brian, second
Please.
for Award 2 issue there. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Tim, roll call vote, please.
Tim Seidenstricker.
Yes.
Brian MacArthur.
Yes.
Peggy Allen.
Yes.
Gary Plunk.
Yes.
Michael Reithmeyer.
Yes.
EJ Fleischman.
Yes.
Rodney Mullins.
Yes.
Troy Blackshear.
Yes.
8 yeas.
I'm looking forward to this one being done. Resolution 26-06.
Resolution number 2606, a resolution authorizing a 1-year service agreement with Virtual Project Manager LLC.
James, that's you again.
Yes, this is just for a 1-year agreement for Virtual Project Manager. It's a web-based project management system that we intend to use to track our projects and other related activities. Currently, we use paper logbooks, take pictures on our phones, iPads, and we have to scan, copy, cut, paste, upload files to wherever we see fit. This software is expected to improve efficiency and overall tracking effectiveness of all our projects. It's not a license-based program like a lot of the other ones, so the number of users we can add is pretty much endless.
Okay.
Just going to clean up a lot of our organization pitfalls we have now.
That's all? Questions and comments from the city council? You guys are easy. Have a motion for approval and a second?
A motion.
Rodney and Michael for a second? Roll call vote.
Tim Seidenstricker.
Yes.
Brian MacArthur.
Yes.
Peggy Allen.
Yes.
Gary Plunk.
Yes.
Michael Reithmeyer.
Yes.
EJ Fleischman.
Yes.
Rodney Mullins.
Yes.
Troy Blackshear.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Okay, motions, no liquor licenses tonight.
Not tonight, Mayor.
Okay, a motion to hold a closed session immediately after this.
A motion to hold a closed session immediately following the city council meeting for the purpose of discussing litigation pursuant to RSMO 610-021, paragraph 1.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to go into
I'll
closed
make the
session,
motion,
please?
Mayor.
Roy, second. Peggy? Roll call vote, please.
Tim Seidenstricker.
Yes.
Brian MacArthur.
Yes.
Peggy Allen.
Yes.
Gary Plunk.
Yes.
Michael Reithmeyer.
Yes.
EJ Fleischman.
Yes.
Rodney Mullins.
Yes.
Troy Blackshear.
Yes.
8 yeas.
We're up to reports from the mayor and council. I had a couple things I want to talk about, but this isn't the right time to do it, and we'll catch this up first part of March. So with that, I'd like to thank Senator Coleman one more time for showing up here tonight and explaining to us, because it's informative when you know a little bit more about the story. Okay, and thank you. Rod?
Just shout out to James and thank you. The big dig has begun.
Big dig.
I'm calling it the big
Or
dig.
Boston.
It has begun. So, and I heard some positive comments just from residents saying thank you. And that thank you goes to everybody that's been involved. So they're happy to see things finally progressing.
No kidding. For you guys that don't know what he's talking about, it's the Woodridge subdivision. We're trying to fix that exploded sewer line. Brian?
Well, kind of same thing with James. I would, appreciate, since he wasn't here on the last one, that I appreciate getting so fast. We had some graffiti problems in a couple areas, and you got on it right away, and I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Troy?
Same to James, the graffiti on Starling Airport Bridge. Thanks for removing that. I know they worked on that quite a bit, didn't they? Yeah, yeah. All right, thank you.
Replace the
I
bridge.
want to thank
Michael?
Mary Elizabeth Coleman for coming tonight and bringing this great information to us that we understand it a little bit better now, at least I do. And this is mainly directed to the chief. I got a phone call today from a 81-year-old woman that lives on Palmy Road, and she's scared to death to pull out of her driveway because just the cars are speeding up and down that, and they're going way over the speed limit. So I just wanted to know the possibility.
We will increase
Try
our
to
patrol.
control that a little bit more.
No
Okay,
problem.
that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. EJ?
No report, Mayor.
Tim?
Just that, Mr. Crutchley's not here tonight, our Parks and Rec supervisor or director, but with the nicer weather, I've been enjoying the Arnold Parks lately, and they just look very nice. The grass looks great. You know, parks are sometimes hard to maintain in winter and snow and rain, but our parks have been looking really nice as I've been walking and enjoying it. So shout out to Parks and Rec as always. And I also would like to welcome back Senator Coleman, who, when she served as a councilwoman, she was in Ward 2, which is my ward that I serve in. So welcome back. Good to see you.
Peggy?
I'm tickled that the Woodridge project is underway. I enjoyed going to the state of the county breakfast with the mayor and a couple of the other councilmen. Learned some things. Glad I went.
Glad to have you there. Gary?
Well, special shout out to Anthony. He helped with the situation in Ward 4. We'll just leave it at that at this time. And also a shout out to James. I may not be bothering you much on Ward 4 on Lonedale. It looks like it's coming to good close here with this good weather we've had.
Getting there.
The veterans had a meeting last night, and we're going to have coffee with the vets next Tuesday, 9 to 11. We invite everyone there. And outside of that, some of you know or may not know that the veterans also visit retirement homes twice a month on Tuesdays and Mondays. And in these homes, they visit veterans that are there. So if you got some veterans out there that in certain retirement homes, you can get with me or Rodney. We'll pass it on to them. It's all about taking care of the veterans, and that's who they look after, for one veteran looking after another, and they enjoy doing it. So that's all I have, and thank you again, Senator, for being here tonight.
Thank you, Gary. Bill Ammon, staff?
Thanks, Mayor. Senator, I really enjoyed that presentation. I think it's a noble cause, certainly a hard cause, but your perseverance is admirable after so many years of doing that.
Anthony?
No report.
Tammy?
No report, Mayor.
Keith Carroll?
No report, Mayor.
You guys are making this easy. David's missing. Bob?
No report, Mayor.
Last chance. Sarah?
Don't forget James. James is gonna say
James,
something.
Hey. Give me the part. James, please. Fun. All right. We're going to take a recess before we go into closed session. So I want to thank all of you for showing up tonight. It's pretty nice, really nice turnout. Yeah, sign.